Muguna says, I think the confusion in the high-positioned UDA leaders in Mount Kenya from Rigathi Gachagua down is just because they went for their stomachs. They lied to people and even overlooked Uhuru Kenyatta. That's why every mistake they do, they blame him. Limuru 3 has brought the light. Mike says, with the recent happenings in the country, most so politically, from Limuru 3 to the speculated Buhungu 3 to now issues around the difference between the president and his DP, it's not a secret that we spend much time politicking than on development. All right, and you know, they say a country's economy, only works when its economy, business is doing better than the politics. But if politics is the best performing industry in the country, then you're moving in the wrong direction. But gentlemen, a lot of feedback from that Limuru 3 event, and we also saw, and we've had someone who says they didn't hear any tribal talk, and that may be, but we had a lot of backlash directed towards the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, and that's also what's been making headlines for the better part of this week. When you take a look at page 4 of the People Daily, there's a report there that Kenya Kwanza is now split as MPs defend Gachagua. When you take a look at the Daily Nation as well, page 10, and so if recent engagements are anything to go by, it's clear that the president and the DP may not be reading from the same script. The two have actually not shared a podium since the 3rd of May, which is quite unusual because they've been spotted together at key events since they came into office in 2022. Kimani, I'd like to begin with you. Allies of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua have said enough is enough. We cannot continue to humiliate Gachagua. They say he has suffered in government and are warning that they have many options should this continue. What do you make of this rift in light of the history we've heard between the president and his deputy, even in the previous regime?
I may not be privy per se to the exact issues that have created the rift, if there is one. But judging as an outsider looking from outside inside, I think the deputy president needs to decide one of two things. You see, if you reason to even the meeting that was in Nyeri and the talks that were held there, so you cannot tell us you are solidly behind the president as his number 2, serving him and obeying his command to the letter. Then you turn around and tell us that the same president whom you've just told us how he's a good president and how you are solidly behind him to help him achieve his agenda for Kenyans is dividing Mount Kenya using younger leaders. If I'm the president, I would also be asking questions. Who do you serve? Do you serve me as the president, or do you serve yourself and your selfish interests as far as Mount Kenya is concerned and your desire to be the undisputed kingpin? So the deputy president must stick to one narrative. If the president is a bad man as far as Mount Kenya is concerned, dividing it using other leaders, then he must stick to that narrative and stop lying to us that he's a good president whom he's serving. Else, he has the liberty of getting out of UDA, form his own party, bring on board his followers and leaders from Mount Kenya, and then face this president who is dividing the region. If that is not the case, then he must stick to serving the president unquestionably to help him achieve the agenda. I think that is how I view as the cause of the wrangles. Again, number 2, it is not fair to accuse without evidence of younger leaders who are being used to scatter the mountain legion or the tribe or to undermine him, while there is no evidence being adduced, right? When they keep saying that there is a group of younger leaders disobeying the deputy president, we have not seen an instance, one, where the deputy president is being disparaged by any young leader from the region. We have not seen instances where he's been disrespected. So you cannot create phantom problems and ghosts to fight, and then blame it on the president as the one who has brought the ghosts you're fighting, and then expect to be in good terms with the same president.
When you say that, and
Yes.
let me perhaps hear from Kamau on this one, because we saw this in the last, regime, and we saw the then Deputy President, William Ruto, complain that the president's allies are disparaging him on platforms where they are representing the president. And so we had the Laikipia East Member of Parliament, Mwangi Kiunjuri, who told the Deputy President at a rally, if you are dissatisfied with Ruto's administration, you may as well go establish your own government on the sidelines, or you wait for 3 years to campaign and form your own government with the people you will convince. And that was a public statement. And so Gachagwa's allies, according to this article in The Nation, are wondering why MPs that are representing the president have been using the same platform to criticize the deputy president's leadership. What do you read?
Maybe before Kamau comes in,
Allow me to say this.
I may ask a question. They should also ask the question, what does the president mean when he says that the deputy president, if they are worried that Kiunjuri is saying so, why are they not worried that the deputy president is accusing the president of dividing the region using these leaders? If you accuse the younger leaders, of which Mwangi Kiunjuri is one, then you are entitled to a response from these leaders you accuse.
All right. And it goes back to the issue of adducing evidence. Come on.
Michelle, the issue of timing is very important in politics. William Ruto does not have a political crisis currently in the country. He has an economic crisis. And so he thought that Gachagua would be the economic, guy to help him pave and, do his money magic from Mount Kenya to help tax economically empowered people. But clearly, Gachagua is not that kind of a leader. Because I'm justified to say so, because Gachagua is the only sitting deputy president to ever be tasked by a sitting president to go and take care of his region's economic activities. And so because Gachagua has failed in doing that and helping the president with the issues of economy, he has resulted to be a politician. And the problem with what he's doing right now, he has borrowed William Ruto's political strategy of whipping the emotions of the people. In Uhuru's second term, he's doing it in William Ruto's first term. And that's why you see the people have refused to buy that narrative. There's no single instance that we can point out and say, William Ruto, you have been very unfair to your deputy because on this day and this day, you did this. The day you were leaving the country, your deputy was not there to see you off. The day you were jetting in the country, your deputy president was not there. And so Gachagua has taken a very dangerous political path for him, because he is going to cause double problem for the president. The president is trying to, burn the midnight oil, wondering how do we pay the debts, how do we balance our trade, how do we move the economy, how do we tax people without the noise that is coming from every corner. And now when Gachagua comes into play this sympathy code of trying to whip people's emotions, we are going to stand with one of our own from the region. People like me will ask Gachagua, before you whip my emotions, you had a duty and a responsibility to add money to my coffee. What have you done about it? And so he stands on very dangerous grounds, and the timings are wrong. Same way with what you've seen with Limuru 3. The timings of Limuru 3 were wrong. Why? Because our people are not stupid. Our people can think for themselves. They can see these things. So I would ask Rigathi Gachagua to go back and help the president to fix the economy. And by the way, Mount Kenya is not looking for political kingpin. We are not in a political quagmire. We are not in a political crisis. We are in an economic crisis. And so what I think the president needs to do, go back to the people of Mount Kenya, get them a leader from the government, not in opposition, because solutions come from the government, not opposition. The work of the opposition is to hit people's emotions with what they think should be done. But when they get into power, they hardly do that. So I would think the right thing for President William Ruto to do is go back to the people of Mount Kenya, the people who are in government, get an economic leader amongst them, help that person fix the economic problems of Mount Kenya. And that is how William Ruto can be a two-term president with the economic support, which translates to a political support from the people of the mountain. So Gachagua has taken the wrong route at the wrong time.
You talk about the economy of Mount Kenya literally resting on the shoulders of the deputy president.
Yes.
How practical is this? Who has the previous regime, in your view? You know, we had the president coming from the Kikuyu region. Did they manage to solve the economic problems of the region?
Yes, that's why we are saying if you cannot appeal to people's logic, which is the economy, with power, you start appealing to their emotions. Uhuru Kenyatta was there. He tried his bit with the 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling, and he bulldozed it the best he could, but we know what the courts did with the narrative. Just the other day, we had the government adapt the same BBI model, but the only one thing that was missing is the fair allocation of resources, which we say is 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. Now, this is the problem. We cannot fault William Ruto for not doing that. The entire government, majority of the government people are from Mount Kenya. We have 9 CSs. We have so many people in the government. It is on record, when the president was in Sagana, Gachagua tasked the Mount Kenya leaders not to address the issue of 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling before the president, because he thought that he would annoy the president if we asked for the fair allocation of funds. And that is why my brother is saying here, you cannot create a phantom, you cannot create a ghost that is not existing so that now you can scare people into one political basket when people have economic expectations from you. Why do people look for power? It is to solve the problems of the people. 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling never happened with Uhuru. Do we dwell there? No. Moving forward, who can solve that issue? It is the people in government. It is basically what Moses Kuria said. We can have the fair allocation of resources even in 1 week's time. We have the numbers in parliament, we have the CSs, so that means the political goodwill from the leaders in Kenya Kwanza government from Mount Kenya can support it. But what have they done so far? Nothing. When they feel that their when they feel that their economic obligations they are not meeting to the people of Mount Kenya, they result into politics. People will ask the people in government not about politics in 2027. They will ask, we heard with our ears, you are tasked to revive our economy. William Ruto went as far as giving us the most important dockets that directly affect the people of Mount Kenya. That means the people in power have failed to do what needs to be done for the people. And by the way, in 2027, William Ruto can be voted overwhelmingly in Mount Kenya without a single leader in Kenya Kwanza going back to power with him. Why? Because it has proven you needed power to fix our economic problems. What have you done? With the power. And there is no crisis. We have not seen the rivalry between William Ruto and the people from Mount Kenya trying to tell him, hey, Mr. President, you need to do this for the people. As far as we are concerned, not even one of them has approached the president with these problems.
Okay, there's a lot to read here because, you know, when you mention, you know, Gachagua in that light, then we must hold all Kenya Kwanza or Mount Kenya leaders in government to account. You know, the chair of the budget committee, Ndindi Nyoro, for example. But he has instead been placed, you know, in a position that the DP's allies are questioning. They say he even uses choppers that belong to the president, and you know, this is when the DP cannot get a military chopper to attend a state event.
Michelle,
but that's one thing.
Will Gachagua cry because a young man is politically gaining grounds better than him? Do you cry for being a victim? Let him play better politics than Ndindi Nyoro.
All right, that's one thing. Kimani, the Embakasi North Member of Parliament, Gakuya, seems to think that so that Mount Kenya can own the ruling UDA party, then the president needs to come out and warn leaders disparaging or disrespecting the deputy president publicly. So the deputy president and his allies know that these people do not have the blessing of the president. You know, it's, you know, about 3 years to the end of this term. Do you think this is an imperative step that the president needs to take for the sake of the nation?
To be very honest, and in all fairness, the man to blame in all these hula baloo is the deputy president. And what he's doing, The deputy president and his team are talking out of both ends of their mouths, right? So you stand here, you disparage the younger leaders who you think are doing better than you, because that is the case. Look, for instance, Ndindi Nyoro that they keep talking about. This guy has been an MP for 7 years only. And in those 7 years, he's been ranked as the best MP. All those years, right? We've seen MPs going to learn. Right now, there are schools that are charging as less as 970 per student per term. That thing has taken away the financial burden from the hustlers, right? So are these people helping the president to fulfill his agenda on empowerment of the hustlers or not? Now, if the president realizes that here is a leader who has helped like 40 constituencies to implement projects like Masomo Bora, which you've seen him go to every constituency to launch with MPs, right? Why would you as a president not give him a chopper to enable him go, come back and attend his parliamentary sessions, if at all fellow MPs from your party are asking for his presence to help him set up these agendas in their place? Now, the biggest problem we have in our region is simple, and I hope people can understand this. There is no disrespect that is being shown to the deputy president. We have an underperforming deputy president, scared by performing younger leaders. Look at Kagushia, for instance, a guy who's been an MP for
when
2 years only.
Non-performing, what do you mean? I mean, we've seen him very active with the fight against
He was an MP. He was an MP
we've
5
seen
years.
gains made in the coffee sector.
Which one? How much is coffee being paid today? Uhuru Kenyatta left it at 156 shillings. It is on record, people can check. Do you know now they are being paid 70 shillings?
Up from about 40.
No, but it was left at 156. So who got into it and brought it down? It's the deputy president. Let's face the facts. Why disturb that which is working already? So he wasn't bringing changes in sector. He was bringing his vested selfish interest into it, collapse the industry. He's now unable to revive it. People are hoping for 70 when Uhuru left it at 156. Let's face it, right? So he's not helping. And he's a guy who keeps jumping. Today it's maziwa, majani, kahawa. Tomorrow it's alcohol, fight against alcohol. The other day he realizes, I think what will work is let's stand this emotive issue about 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. We don't know what he'll come up with the other day, the next week. Now he realizes Ruto became so famous after he complained that he was being sidelined by the president. He takes the same card to people.
There are those who say he's a very cunning politician who actually has a plot to take over UDA, and that is why we're seeing the wrangles that we're seeing
What?
now.
The younger politicians?
No, that the deputy president himself,
Yes.
If he can succeed to do that, where is the problem?
But you see, the thing is, so you see, if you join a war team, then fight. Stop these complaining, or every now and then, oh, leave me alone. Leave me alone from what? We have not, and let's be fair to ourselves, there are no instances, I haven't seen one, somebody can direct me to one, where these so-called young leaders have disrespected him. He's the one who's started fights against them for no apparent reason.
He's just
He's the one
intimidated by the young
He's the one
leaders.
using Gakuya to speak ill about the likes of Ndindi Nyoro, younger politicians. And then when they answer him back, then he says the president must come out. Did the president come out to tell him not to disparage the younger ones? So why does he want the president to come out to tell the younger ones not to disparage the deputy president when he started it? Right. So you cannot start fighting leaders, then turn around and ask the president to come around and help you, while in actual sense he should be coming out to tell you stop fighting these younger ones. The younger ones will always move fast.
Come on.
And if you are unable to move fast, then
we
you
must
should.
wind up, gentlemen. So let's begin with your closing comments.
The problem with Gachagua is that he's at war with everyone. Everyone is his enemy. We must tell Gachagua today, with great power comes great responsibility. Not with great politics come responsibilities. He has to choose a side. He needs to ask himself, will I be the economic leader the people of Mount Kenya are yearning for? Or will I be their political leaders? Does he want to take the people of the mountain to the opposition? Too early to tell. And so Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, our deputy president, the senior most politician in Mount Kenya, we want to speak to you. With great power comes with great responsibilities. You will not succeed in hoodwinking the people of the mountain with emotive politics, because we know you have an economic duty and a responsibility, and the president has given you whoever you need to work with in the government to solve our problems. If we are talking about Mount Kenya being highly taxed, then we are talking about Mount Kenya being the biggest revenue generator in this country. And so he will have failed in reviving the economy of the people of Mount Kenya. And I think in William Ruto's calculations of economy, he thought by now he will have revived the economy so well, especially in the region of Mount Kenya, such that even if people are highly taxed, there will be no much of a noise. But you cannot continue taxing a highly taxed people already. The cow is going to collapse. And so no one seems to help William Ruto with the issue of fixing the economy. And that is why I will tell the president today, pick a person from Mount Kenya who can be able to revive their economy, and that will be the next deputy president who deserves to help the president. Because as far as I am concerned and where I am seated, again I say William Ruto has a chance of being re-elected in Mount Kenya, having given us all the right leaders in the right places to do what they did. And so what have they done with the power? That will be the big question.
That's the big question.
In 2027.
I take issue, you do say, Mount Kenya may be the biggest, revenue generator. I think we need to organize a conversation and really discuss this one man, one shilling thing in a bit more detail.
Where the population
very,
is
very briefly, your closing comments.
No. I will address my closing remarks to the Deputy President. As Kamau is saying, he's our senior most political leader. He's like the father of the mountain region. He must start acting like it. It is very unlikely of a father to fight his sons because they are doing better than him. Fathers support their sons. But at the same time, we also need to call the sons to respect the Deputy President, but he must also understand that respect originates with the elders. The elders must respect the younger politicians. Those who are doing better must be praised, not disparaged and being branded retrogressive names. And if he does so, and if he leads like the leader he should be, then he will get the respect he's yearning. Number two, he must take a stand. Either he is solidly behind William Ruto as the president to help him achieve his agenda, or he must take a stand and tell us Ruto is the one dividing the mountain, quit as Mwangi Kiunjuri told him, and form his own political outfit and fight Ruto. He must choose one.
We keep an eye on the situation in the political space in the country. Let's also take a few comments from what Kenyans are saying on this rift between the president and his deputy. Waisaka says, Governor Kahiga, you should have simply stated that Raila Odinga is the reason behind the fallout between the DP and William Ruto. For typical Kikuyu, if it doesn't rain in their village, they'll blame Raila. And we have Mutuma who says, Sisi ni nani Governor Kahiga, when a declaration was made last Friday, but the Mount Kenya people to stand with their own. They didn't mean about Rigathi Gachagua, well-deserved wars. Fight your own battles. Let's lost home and away. Before you burn a bridge, be sure you are a good swimmer. All right, and we have SC who says, Rigathi Gachagua was frustrated by the president because he was refused access to a military helicopter on the significant day of the national tree planting event in Bomet. He even missed to attend. The president's decision may have been a way ya kupima hasira ya Rigathi. And in politics, you really can't, you can't dismiss anything. Dan Kwemoi says, there's nothing that happens in Mount Kenya that William Ruto is in the blue. He knows everything. All right, again, in politics, you really never know. Onjiku Gishuki says, Kenyans have always known that Gachagua was an election pawn. 2, Gachagua has no votes. UDA's central votes were primarily anti-Raila. Remove Raila from the equation, and Ruto would be at home. He says, K24 You know this, she says rather. Many thanks for sending in your comments this morning. In studio with us, we've been speaking to Willie Kimau as well as Kimani Mwangi, both of them political analysts. We also like to give many thanks to Jubilee Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni, who joined us by way of phone in the course of the broadcast. And of course, thank you to you for watching this morning. My name is Michelle Gele Oviambo. Good morning.